Hello, wonderful ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of Sports with Dom Boogie Don. I still remain your humble host, Dom Boogie Don. And today we are going to be doing a review of what we just witnessed in Europe, the matches played across the UEFA Champions League, 3 days of fantastic football. So stick with me today as we dive into what we just witnessed. We are going to be doing a review of the results, a review of the games that went on, and also tell you who made it to the team of the week, who won the player of the week, the goal of the week, and as well the assist of the week from UEFA. So a wonderful and packed show coming for you guys this evening. So stick with me. I'm still your wonderful host, and today we have a lot packed for you guys. So without wasting much of your time, let's dive in straight to what we have. On Tuesday, we saw a couple of matches which we have played, and on Wednesday too, and on Thursday. And results are already here. You can see the results up there. We just pick a few of the results and tell you about Arsenal continued their wonderful defensive record, beating Atletico Bilbao away from home 2 goals to nothing. Juventus continue from where they stopped over the weekend with a trailer goal, a trailer eight game trailer game, eight goals trailer game against Borussia Dortmund. Real Madrid again one man down and also managing to get the result. See, Alonso looks like the man who knows how to do the job when he goes down to 10 men. And also PSG kicking off the defense of their title, 4 goals unreplied against Atlanta. Other results also, Manchester City looks like they are back with their 2-0 win over Napoli. Barcelona went all the way to St. James Park, beating Newcastle 2 goals to 1. And the biggest winners this game week 1 are Eintracht Frankfurt, beating Galatasaray 5 goals to 1 at home, knowing that these guys lost Omar Mamouche and Hugo Ekitike, and at the end of the day they still have the firepower to beat Galatasaray. I never expected that high scoring football from Frankfurt, but they showed us that yes, they are still a team to reckon with when it comes to European football. So without wasting much of your time, let's move in and see who UEFA picked for the team of the week. And for the team of the week, in goal we have Geronimo Rulli of Marseille. The guy did wonderfully well against Real Madrid. He kept out 13 shots out of 15 that he saved, that he faced. He kept out 13 out of 15 that he faced. The two beating him were the penalties from Kylian Mbappe. And in defense, this team is a 4-4-2 lineup from UEFA. In defense, we have Marcos Llorente there with that performance against Liverpool with those 2 goals. Remembering that the last time he came to Anfield, he scored against Liverpool and he continued again. We have Derek Lucasen of Pafos. From defense, keeping a clean sheet also with Pafos, and interestingly made 19 clearances, the highest from any player this game week 1. He made 19 defensive clearances, and he's from Netherlands, the Dutchman, making his debut in UEFA's biggest club competition over there for Pafos. Then in defense also we have Virgil van Dijk, the best defender in EPL. He was the man that stepped up to bail Liverpool there at the death against Atletico Madrid. And also that goal was his first UEFA Champions League goal at Anfield. He has scored a couple in the Champions League, but on that day, that That was the first he scored at Anfield. Also in defense at left back is Yusufa Modiji, Yusufa Mbodji, the Senegalese, making his debut in the UEFA Champions League for Slavia Prague and also getting 2 goals from defense. He did really well. Wonderful game from him for Slavia Prague. Then in midfield we have Pedro Bicalho of Karabakh. This guy was instrumental in Karabakh coming back in that game against Benfica away from home. Pedro did well, and that earned him a place in the team. Also, we have Hans Van Eycken of Club Brugge with a goal and assist in that wonderful performance against Monaco at home against Monaco. Club Brugge continue from where they stopped last season. They really did well, and this man was instrumental in that midfield that beat Monaco. Also in midfield we have Francisco Trincao. Oh my God, this guy was wonderful. Was wonderful for Sporting. He was wonderful for Sporting on Thursday night, doing everything, running the show in midfield for Sporting. He also has 2 goals to his name. He has 2 goals to his name in that game and in this competition so far. Also talking about the big man himself, the man of the moment, Marcus Rashford, with that wonderful performance for Barcelona against Newcastle. That was a great comeback, coming back to England and performing away from home at Newcastle St. James Park. He also had 2 goals. Harry Kane in the attack is Harry Kane of Bayern Munich with 2 goals against Chelsea. Wonderful performance from him also against Chelsea. And of course, Marcus Thuram of Inter, 2 goals as well. So from there, we'll look at the player of the week at the end of the three days game. UEFA picked Marcus Rashford to win the player of the week. So for game week 1, the player of the week winner is Marcus Rashford with that wonderful performance against Newcastle, that headed goal and that bullet rocket launcher outside the box against Newcastle. Congrats, Marcus Rashford, for that wonderful goal. And by the way, that goal also, that bullet shot from outside the box, also won the UEFA Champions League goal of the week. Double blessings for Marcus Rashford. He also got the man of the match in that same game, and also Phil Foden won the assist of the week with that cheap assist for Erling Haaland to score his 50th UEFA Champions League goal. Wonderful, crazy stats everywhere this game week 1. So from there, we'll talk about stats, some hidden stats you didn't notice this week. For Karabakh, that win against Benfica made it. They became the first Azerbaijan team to win a game in the UEFA Champions League. Kudos and congrats to Karabakh. What a wonderful giant killing there and a big comeback for them. Also, Erling Haaland became the fastest player to score 50 goals in the UEFA Champions League in 49 games. He was able to do it in 49 games. The previous record was held by Ruud van Nistelrooy, who had 69 games to score 50 goals, and Erling Haaland from nowhere broke in and he has 49 games with 50 goals. He's now tied with Thierry Henry in the 9th place in the UEFA Champions League all-time scorers chart. He's 9th together with Thierry Henry. And what else do we have for the stats? Okay, for this game week, Olympiacos and Paphos was the only game he didn't witness a goal. The game ended 0-0 with Paphos picking a red card. Bruno for Paphos picking a red card in that game. Was the only game that we didn't witness a goal. So from there we'll move straight to the top 8 teams so far. The top 8 teams so far after game week 1. Frankfurt leading already, PSG second, Club Brugge third, Sporting CP also tied, also Union Saint Louis also there, Bayern Munich also there, Arsenal 7th and Inter Milan 8th. For the rest of the chart, you can see it there, rest of the teams there. So after 18 games, we have after 18 games we have 14 teams. 14 teams have won their games. 14 teams have won their games. Wonderful records there. So from there, I will give you top things that I noticed, or things that I learned from these group stage games. So far so good. We have 3 red cards in game week 1. The 3 red cards coming in the games between Real Madrid and Marseille. We saw Cabral picking the first red card. Pafos and Olympiacos in that game. Bruno picking a red card for Pafos, and the Manchester City versus Napoli, the Kevin De Bruyne derby, it didn't go well. Also, Di Lorenzo picking a red card. So in the 18 games played so far, we have 3 red cards in 3 games. So to the things I've learned, we saw the first of all is Karabakh getting their first win, like I said earlier, being the first Azerbaijan team to win a game in this UEFA Champions League. And it was a great giant killing seeing them come from 2 goals down to win this game against Benfica away from home. No matter whatever you say, Benfica still remains a big team. They still remains a big team when it comes to UEFA Champions League. Remember, this same Benfica was part of the teams from Europe to represent Europe at the Club World Cup. So no matter whatever you say, it's a great giant killing from Karabakh, and kudos and congrats to them. Also, we saw classic games and thrillers also, starting with Juventus 4-4 draw against Bayern Borussia Dortmund. At some point, Borussia Dortmund was leading 4-2 before Juve had to grab the 2 goals in the dying embers of that game. We saw this same thing happen against Inter. Back to back. They dragged it to the end of the game, ended 4-4 also over the weekend. And also in the game between Liverpool and Atletico Madrid, we saw Liverpool at the death once more, leading 2-0. They drew back to 2-2, and at the death, the captain, the big man himself, Virgil van Dijk, had to step up to make it 3-2. And Liverpool winning their first 5 games in the dying embers of the game within the last 10 minutes of the game, and also 4 out of those 5 coming in added minutes of regulation time. That's after 90 minutes. Also, classic game, Frankfurt beating Galatasaray 5-1 without Ekitike and Mamouche. I never saw that coming. Another thing I learned is about the Arsenal defense. The Arsenal defense still standing tall. Apart from what they did in the EPL, they are still standing tall in the Champions League. And it might interest you to know that so far in 5 games Arsenal have played this season, they have considered just 1 goal in 5 games. Just 1 goal. 4 games in the EPL, 1 goal. 1 game in the UEFA Champions League, no goal. So 5 goals in all competition, considered only 1 goal, and that goal coming from Szoboszlai's monster mesmerizing free kick at Anfield. So kudos to the Arsenal defense, kudos to Arteta for whatever he has been doing. No Saliba, no problem. Mosquera entered and he's doing perfectly well for Arsenal. No matter whatever you said, Mosquera is doing so well and complementing Gabriel at that centre-back pairing. Calafiori has been a monster coming back this season so far. And I don't know what else to say about the Arsenal defense. They have been wonderful so far this season. And I will be closing this up with the referees. We saw a lot of, okay, let me not say a lot of, but some controversial calls in most of the games. But I'll be picking two games to talk about, that being the Marcel and the Real Madrid game. The late minute penalty given to Real Madrid. A lot of people have been calling on UEFA to look into that, because to me, I don't feel that is a penalty, because you can't judge that as a penalty. You can never judge that as a penalty. So where do you want the player to put his hand? Where do you want him to put his hand when he's falling? Another one is the goal that Llorente scored. There have been calls that goal should have been an offside, not from Llorente but from Griezmann, because he was kind of obstructing Alisson Becker's sight when that shot came in. So these are the two moments and things I'm going to talk about the referees in Europe. And there you have it for the things I learned from this Champions League first game week. And from there, the next fixtures we have will be coming on October. Sorry, on the next fixtures we have will be coming on September 30th and October 1st. September 30th and October 1st. That will be the Matchday 2. So thank you for joining me today. It's been a wonderful time with you guys. I still remain your host, Tom Bogidon, and keep being with us. Remember to like, to subscribe, and to share, and pass our message that Don Bogidon is here to stay. It is a goodbye from here, and see you when we see next. Thank you and bye bye.